Hello everybody, and this is my inside guppy pond. I just got done doing water changes on all my other tanks, and I saved this one for last because I'm going to do a lot of work in here. It was covered in algae and duckweed. I got some of the duckweed out while I was waiting for tanks to drain and fill up and stuff like that. But what we're going to do here is do all the trimming, clean out the pre-filter, and we'll see what happens. I'm not real sure how this will end up looking. It's been a while since I've gone through it and did a hardcore, I don't want to say I'm going to reset this because I'm not. But it needs some attention, and I figured I'd take you guys along for the journey. So let's see what we end up doing here. This will be fun. Okay, so you see my Anubias right here. This is my Anubias project, and where I'm growing Anubias immersed. And something I've been needing to do and just haven't got around to it yet is clip off all the leaves that have not transitioned or looking stressed, not looking the best. So I'm just going to go through and chop off, because a lot of it, I noticed the new leaves when I took it from inside the tank and inside a tank and changed it to growing immersed like I am now. Some of the leaves that were still developing did struggle, but now we have plenty of good leaves. Take this spent flower off too. So we'll go ahead and take these big guys off. See how that looks. These leaves got some bad in them. Okay, this little Anubias here has some dead on it, looks like. Let's see what we got. This leaf already fell off. Here's what we got, don't look that good. And I think the rest of those, yeah, here's one leaning off to the other side. There we go. I think this one needs to go right there. Okay, there. So, don't ask me how I know what to do, because I don't know what I'm doing. I've never messed with Anubias immersed. So this is a new trick for all of us. I think that looks pretty good. I don't see any more dead on it. Yeah. This leaf is not looking the best. Oh, that one wanted to sink. Okay. So the next step I'm going to do now is start draining the water. And this is how I take the water out of here. I also have the Python hook with an extension. This gets us down as far as we need to get. And then this takes out most of it super fast. 400 gallon per hour pump. The garden hose going to the bathtub in there. Let's take this water out, because we got to get the water down to get access to the intake sponges. And I know some of you guys have been around a while, know how this all works, but then some of you guys, there's a lot of you guys who are new. And so we'll see. You guys can see how the Guppy pond runs. Looks a lot better at that Nubius cleaned up. I like it a lot. It's nice and green, looking so good. Alright, let's start sucking this water out. Okay, so you hear that sound there. That is the pump being blocked up. Now I'm going to show you guys how this works. This is all DIY stuff. Now this one usually ain't too bad, because the only water coming through is through the sides and that. And then this one, the bottom one, is always the worst. And this one's really bad too. So what I got to do, I got to get, this is about as low as the water goes. The way my water change setup is, it'll go maybe, it might get an inch lower, but we're already down to about 90% water change here. And so next step is to rinse these guys off. I like this moss growing up here on top, so I'm going to try to not rinse that off. I'm going to try to keep that. Okay, so this is my biggest design flaw with this filter. So I guess I could unplug the pump, but I don't. So we got to make sure there's nothing swirling around this intake, and then we got to pop this thing off. I take this coupler off. That makes it slide off and on a little bit easier. Watch out, shrimps, and then we pop this off and we slide that guy back on. And now the filter will try to run a little bit. The water level needs to be a little bit higher still. But yeah, that's where it's sitting down on that pipe. So you got these 3 sponges. The water comes in through the sponges, comes down in there to a pump that's 1,000 gallons per hour, and this 5-gallon bucket is full of lava rock and biomedia. And then the very top of it right here is pea gravel as planting medium for my hydroponic immersed Anubias thing I got going on here. So what I'm going to do now is rinse this off, and we'll get the filter running again, and then we'll see what's next. Be some plant trimming. Okay, so we got both sponges, all 3 sponges ready to go. And I managed to keep the moss, got it rinsed off without messing up the moss too bad, because I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I forgot to put this coupler on. Well, all this coupler does is give it a snug fit for the top sponge, so that when I'm doing water changes and stuff, it doesn't, the tops don't float off. So that's pretty cool. Alright, I got the water coming back in now, so let's let her fill up some. Alright, so now you can see the filter is unclogged. I think that bucket's leaning a little bit to the left. And so this side flows like crazy. This side kind of. Look at all these fish. Look at all those guppies. Look at all the shrimp down in there. There's tons of shrimp in here. This was my cold tank for a long time before I started my Skittles tank. So before I started doing the Skittles tank, this was the cold tank for my guppies and my shrimp. They sure like that filter flow. Look at that. There's a lot of them back there right now. So we're gonna wait for this to fill up, and then it'll be time to manage plants. While it was filling up, just the last few minutes while I was doing the time lapse, I was put in some safe, and I did some hydrogen peroxide back there. You can see where I sprayed it. This is all moss, so that's good. But that is hair algae. There's a few spots hair algae's trying to grow. And we're trying to take care of it. And we got moss growing up on the sides. It's kind of cool that does that. So we'll wait for this to fill up. Then we'll mess with all these plants. Ludwigia, mermaid weed, and more Ludwigia is what I have in here right now. Okay, so we got some duckweed still, but that's alright. So what we do here most of the time is I'm going to try to cut off the tops of all this Ludwigia and see where we're at. The easiest way to do this is to gather it all up from the bottom. That makes sense. Get them all bunched up together. And lop it off right down there, nice and low to where we're gonna want most of the plants. It looks like we got most of them actually, but the one cut. I got a little thing here. I'm gonna put all this Ludwigia in. I'm gonna do this half, and I'm gonna do the other half. Alright. So now we're going to cut the rest of what I missed on that batch. We got some back here. Some of that I might just rip up. Alright. Yeah, this piece is still attached. Alright. So I think we got about all the Ludwigia out of that side that we need to get. I do believe there's a few other pieces that are a little bit taller than I'd like. All these down here at the bottom, all these stems, they'll just grow right back. So that's why I like to cut them all low at about the same size. Alright. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so all this Ludwig I just cut off, I'm going to show you some easy trick when you're dealing with a whole bunch of stem plants like this. So even that is going to be taller than I want. So what I'm going to do, I kept them all the same length. That's where I originally cut them off, right here on this end. So this is the top. So then I can come through here right here. Oh! And I still have a bunch of tops that are good here. These are the best parts of the plant. I have someone I'm going to be sending a bunch of Ludwigia to. I want to send her that. And then these stems, the top and a cut off top and a cut off bottom. Rather than being Ludwigia like this, this plant is indestructible. So I'm just going to stick it down in the substrate like this, where there's a clearing from where I cut it all out. And so you can see I did a clump, I replanted a clump of it there, replanted a clump of it there, and right there is the very tip tops of it. So now we got to deal with this mermaid weed and some more Ludwigia. And I'll check in when I get that all taken care of. Alright, all the plants are trimmed up. Look, now we just got a mess to clean up with the leftover duckweed and plant bits, and I'll do that with the shop vac. But I tell you what's real little disconcerting is when you're shoving in a great big clump of stem plants into the substrate and you accidentally touch one of those monsters. There's lots and lots of big adult plecos in here, and whew, heebie-jeebies when you touch them and you don't expect it, especially. Look at all the moss back there. Alright, I'll get this all cleaned up. The thermometer I keep in here, I do have a heater in here that it's an old Eheim heater that I just set it on 70. I think it only kicks on a little bit in the winter. Shouldn't kick on that much. But let's get this mess cleaned up. Then we'll look at what we got. And here we are. This is what we ended up with. There's still some duckweed and there's lots of moss in here. I don't know if I've ever had this much moss grown in here. Lots of guppies, lots of babies even. So what I did, now that we got this done, every time I make a guppy video, if I don't do it, I get complaints. So I gotta catch some out and see what they're looking at. I did a random scoop and picked out a few that have been really catching my eye lately. And man, I almost want to pull these out and see if I can do something with them. I've been keeping my eye on this guy. He's getting old now, but look at that guy. That's ridiculous. Look at his tail and Japan blue body. Look at this one. Oh my gosh. This one's he's kind of gimp, but he's got the same thing going on. Some of these fish are just out of this world. There's two of them like that. Man. Okay. Okay, so let's put these guys back in. Alright, you guys, that's how my guppy pond is. This is what what I gotta do to keep it going. I guess there's everything in here. There's guppies, shrimp, and plecos. So, said it used to just be a catch-all. Still is a catch-all for lots of stuff. But it used to be where I put all my guppy and shrimp culls. Now the shrimp don't do as good in here because these days I hit the guppies with bendazole a lot, and the shrimp don't like getting that on a regular basis. Look at how some of these guys stand out. The colors on them. I love the guppy pond. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.